I just finished watching To Die For. This is a podcast by Neil Strauss and iHeartRadio and some other platform, which I forgot right now. This is about a woman, Russian woman, that was a former sex spy for Russia. And she's now living in the United States and is being turned slowly into a phenomenon. So after I listened to the first season of this podcast, and then also checked her out a bit on her socials, I want to give my reaction. First, I want to put a few disclaimers. Number one, I am going to be judgmental about this. Absolutely. Here is why. Essentially, sexpionage and everything that was told about this woman's story is the shadow of sexuality, is the shadow of humanity also, is the perversion of something that is very powerful. Actually, two things. One is sex, the other one is love. For ruining people's lives, killing people, and also the ones that do this are very traumatized themselves, because the entire sexpionage system, at least as we're told about it from Russia, is extremely traumatic, and it is passing trauma from one generation to another. So I'm definitely going to be judgmental. If you want me to be impartial, maybe check out other videos. This video is definitely going to be very partial, very subjective, very judgmental, with the reasons that I said right now. This is not something healthy. I am somebody that is trained from the place of personal power. Sexological body work, an American certification, is actually coming from a place of personal power and doesn't manipulate others, is not about manipulation. It's about empowering self and empowering others to choose the best for themselves, and obviously choose the best for the two people in the relationship. So for that reason, I am going to judge this big time. Also, if you're new here or seeing this video for the first time, hi, this is Liana, Holistic Intimacy Coach. Welcome to my channel. Here, I help you get your orgasmic intimacy. And by the way, I am not Russian, I am Romanian. That's in between Russia and Romania, there's Ukraine. So you need to know where put me on the map somewhere. So what is the story? Alia Rosa, Kazakh, born in the USSR in 1985, I think. Yeah, 1985. Was born into a family of army men. Her grandfather was a hero in the Second World War. He apparently fought German Nazis, and in Stalingrad, she was taken to see her granddad's name on a wall of names of heroes, war heroes. Her dad also served in the Russian military, and he instilled the values of patriotism and serving country, helping people's lives, giving one's life for Mother Russia, essentially. With that, she was induced from the age of at least 6, as we are being told in the podcast. She was trained by her father and then taken to the military to learn. Here I had my first red flag. If her father, man, worked in the freaking military, the Russian military, and he knew the abuse that women went through, including sexual abuse. Women in the Russian military make up for very little. I'm not sure if it was in the US or the Russian military, the 4% that was said. I don't remember. It was in the first episode, so it's been a while since I saw that one, since I've seen that one. But very few women, the majority of men abusing their women also. Sexually abusing them, traumatizing them, bullying them, all sorts of things. So a man that worked there literally took his daughter into that system, who, because he was a Muslim, he insisted that his daughter be a virgin until she marries, doesn't wear makeup, doesn't wear sexy clothes, come home early or else she'll get beaten if she was late even a few minutes, which is something that rings very familiar. My granddad, from my father's side, was a colonel in the reserve of the Romanian army. If my dad, when he was a teen, he would be late even a few minutes home, he would not get to eat supper. He would have to sleep on the cold cement stairs outside of the apartment. He was massively beaten sometimes. So that's what I heard from my grandmother. So all the stuff that this girl said that she had to go through, and everybody had to serve the patriarch of the family. I've actually, after my dad died, because he was too a victim of his father, just like this girl was essentially, first of all, a victim of her father's, this was what was being done. So, nasty stuff, okay? Army is a nasty, traumatizing system, probably more so that we're being told right now. So my first red flag here is your freaking father worked in the military, you worked in the military, you know what is going on, but you take your virtuous daughter there and you expect her to not go through that and still be virtuous. Wow. So that one doesn't add up for me. I don't know. It just doesn't. I expect men, especially of a certain age, to have more reasoning than this one. So if I, as a woman that never went through that system, can reason this, why the fuck didn't that father reason like that? I have no idea, honestly. Unless there's something fishy with the story, because a lot of people said that in the beginning. Her story, although she seems believable, her story is incredible. So there's that also. Next up, she basically throughout the podcast, she shares her primary two sexual abuses. One is from an officer that even if she tells him she's, what was she, 18 at the time, I think? Yeah. During menstruation, he shit out of her. And the other one by the colonel that is going to be her daddy, quote unquote, with oral sex. Hey, it is about sexpionage, so there's heavy stuff bound to be said there. She makes solemn promises that she will take her vengeance back on both of them. Throughout the first season, we hear in which ways she does, where it happens. Then we learn about the actual training that she goes through, the sex skills that she has to learn, the poison skills that she has to learn for various purposes, not necessarily kill people, but make them unconscious. The white weapons that she has to use, including nails and high heels. The manipulation techniques that she has to learn, which Neil Strauss, the host of the podcast, brings a lot of resemblance to NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming. I haven't done that training, but apparently more people did it, and not everybody uses it for the good. And they mention about the 4 levels of sexpionage. I can't remember the third one. The first one is surveillance. The second one is compromat. The third one I forgot. And the fourth one are the love traps. The ultimate game. I think the third one is just honey traps, where you catch them with sex and that's it. I think. And the fourth one, the heaviest one of all, is where you get your target, your victim, to fall in love with you and form loving relationships for the long run, because it is actually admitted that not everybody yields or concedes to manipulation. So surveillance, compromise, honey traps, some people, even with those, don't give in. People in higher ranks that are obviously aware of this kind of stuff that is happening. So yeah, that's why they have to go to love traps. And those are the long-term strategies, which involve a lot of manipulation, a lot of emotional intelligence used for the bad, and ultimately a lot of ruining of people's lives in the process. We hear about this woman's story, which it's nasty what she shares there, but you know, seeing how I have a few of my doubts, like how could her father willingly take her daughter into that system, fully knowing what that system is. So with that, I have a big question mark here. Is this story actually true? Or is this story somehow made up, some parts of it at least? they do alert us in the beginning that because of the nature of the podcast and the exposure that this woman gets, they change things from the story. So maybe to protect her family, maybe, I don't know, to cover her tracks. I'm not sure. So probably there is something there, like this question mark. Maybe it's justified from different reasons. Maybe something was made up there. However, what I want to look at right now is, why is this woman made a phenomenon? Quick answer or short answer: because society, especially United States, is fucked right now. And they're presenting shadow as the thing to be, the cool thing of today. And the light, people that actually work in the light, are not interesting. They are dull, they are boring, too healthy. Who wants to be healthy right now? Why is it so important to not have plastic surgery, to not manipulate people, but actually empower them? Who wants that? Okay, that's where the United States is right now with promoting models. So that's why this woman is turned into a phenomenon. That's where I don't really like the way the podcast is done, because they're actually using Killer Shangri-La is the theme of this podcast, and I think it's from it was used also in the TV show called Killing Eve. I haven't seen it. I had a friend who was really passionate about that show. So that added to the commercial of it. Then the other music and special effects and all of that. It was done in a binge worthy way, which I don't know. It's not okay. I would have done it in a more documentary way, and in a way that doesn't really hook people in, because we're hooking people into the shadow. Willingly or not, consciously or not, this guy is hooking people into the shadow, because he's making this woman into a phenomenon. So I think there are other ways to reach wider audiences with these kinds of stories, but this is where entertainment is also traumatized, because in its need to hook people, get them to consume more and more of their shit, sell other God knows what else, they do that. They make it cool, they make it aspirational-like in a way. Okay, it's entertaining and therefore aspirational, and that's not cool. It's not. Another critique that I have is that this woman is recognized by the Kinsey Institute as a life or sexuality coach. This woman, she was traumatized, first by her dad. When she was younger, she was not empowered. That guy was not a healthy model of power. Okay, the first lesson that guy, her dad, taught her, allegedly, according to the podcast, was to be cold-hearted and cold-blooded and not have emotions. Guess what that means? Dehumanizing. Right there. So you have the essence in her father's freaking teaching. And then she goes on to experience more and more of that in the training that she gets. So this woman is traumatized, learns from a place of trauma, because that system is highly traumatic. And she learns to destroy. What healthy skills does she have? She doesn't. And according to this podcast, she's still going through 7-hour sessions and therapy, because she's going to recover for a long time. Her therapist, which is also, one of the people that she works with, she states in the podcast that she has faith 150% that she will recover. This woman is traumatized, still going through her deep trauma. What can she teach other women? When you really heal and when you really come into your place of power, which takes time. This woman is 39. She's going to turn 39 in a few days as of filming this video. And she was at least, 18 years in a traumatizing system doing traumatic shit. Are you going to tell me that in just a few years she's going to recover? I highly doubt that. And anybody that has any trauma information will know that. The United States, which is where Kinsey Institute is from, has this sexological bodywork, somatic sexuality coaching training, that is teaching people from a place of power to empower themselves and empower others. Why isn't this entire field recognized by the Kinsey Institute? Why are they recognizing one of the biggest victims out there just because she's a whistleblower? And she comes up with these highly cool and commercial and shocking and terrorizing and traumatizing or triggering stories, basically. She's the one that is recognized. So, Kinsey Institute, I don't know what your values are, but they're not healthy. And I don't know who the heck decided this woman is cool to me, is okay, and we vet her. When you have other people out there that are in the light, healthy, wholesome, helping others to be wholesome. This woman is teaching what? Seduction? And is that life coaching? A woman that was taught to kill and to poison and to ruin people's lives, and a woman that was traumatized herself, still recovering, she is teaching people seduction, and Kinsey Institute acknowledges that? Wow, people, you want to pay that institute to study human sexuality? Well, you better ask them to change their freaking sexuality values. And yeah, does this woman need help? I would totally pay for her therapy, sure. I wouldn't make her a star right now, no. And I wouldn't recognize her as a sexuality coach because she's not. She's a sexuality traumatized victim. That's what she is. She was human trafficked. First episode says it right there. The guy, Robin Dreek, there's a guy interviewed in the beginning. I'm not sure if I mentioned it. This guy actually said in the beginning, this is a broken toy. This woman wanted to prove herself. She was traumatized in the process, so that was used onto her. And she's done it to other people for years. That's a broken human, basically. A broken sexuality for sure. So would I learn from this woman anything? No. Would I aspire to be like this woman? No. Absolutely not. I understand if you see her with all her plastic surgery and all the stuff, like how she looks, if you ask me, she totally represents the shadow. Like you can see it on her. And people actually put that on a pedestal right now. Somebody that, and I'm not just pointing at myself, I have colleagues that work in the field. They don't have plastic surgery. They don't have any kind of physical enhancements. They don't manipulate. They keep a healthy, grounded, wholesome lifestyle. They're not shown as models. So that's why I'm saying that the United States is definitely broken right now in certain places. They have healthy things out there, but they don't promote them enough. And Kinsey Institute, after stopping this video, after recording it and publishing it and everything, I'm going to reach out to them and tell them, hey, this is what is said. If it's true, then I don't support your values. And you have a big problem when it comes to healthy values. Totally. So would I encourage you to aspire to be like this woman? No, I wouldn't. Work with anybody, like any of my sexological bodywork colleagues? Sure. Get wholesome education and grounded stuff that don't look so spectacular because they're not traumatizing. The only thing spectacular are the states that you can experience when your intimacy is wholesome, when you find the right person for you, the good match for you, and you both know how to relate from a place of power in a wholesome place. That is spectacular. You can only describe it on the outside, but I don't know, until we have some movies and more stuff presented in this true spirit of light, not of shadow, we're not going to really understand that unless we live it. And I totally encourage everybody to go for healing and go for learning wholesome sexuality, wholesome love from a place of personal power, of personal peace and equilibrium with somebody that is ideally in the same space. So this is my reaction. I would love to read your comments, and I'll see you with other videos. Bye.